Hi, I'm Lazaroo-Hood, entrepreneur, philanthropist and family man. This is my podcast, In Conversation With. From the boardroom, back to the beginnings, to the present with my guests, talking about business, family and sport. Today we're here in Borough and we're going for a dander around Elephant and Castle. Who we're here to meet? Thomas Magill, BBC reporter and presenter and a man from Larne. So I can't wait to actually have his journey, have his chat and catch up with him. Give us a cuddle.
Hiya mate, you alright? Good to see you.
You ready for doing this today?
Absolutely.
Thomas, so do you think there was a key moment, a pivotal moment in your career that kind of almost propelled you to where you are now, going from BBC Essex to BBC London to BBC Network, etc.?
Yes, there's lots of different moments, and again, we talked about opportunity and a bit of luck in life, and I suppose it was a mixture of that. Really, was the pivotal moment for me. So we're at Elephant and Castle. My college is just down the road there, LCC, where I studied journalism. That had links with the BBC, so as part of that course, I had to spend 3 weeks at BBC Essex doing work experience, and that's where I met my first boss, Alison, and I never really left the BBC since then. She was offering me freelance shifts and offering me opportunities, which I was so grateful for at the time. I took them, and how it works in journalism, very often you're given short-term contract after short-term contract. And the key is to get a permanent, contract, of course. But it's quite tough at the beginning. And it was at the time whenever, I don't know if you remember the story, but the eviction of the travelling community, 80 families from Dale Farm in Essex.
Yeah, that took over a whole summer.
Oh gosh, huge story. And we covered it day in, day out. So the big eviction was happening. And Alison said to me, we had journalists all over the place. She said to me, you go up to the top of the field and look down on it. And I was raging. I was like, oh God, she's sending me away from the action. And I wanted to be at the gates of Dale Farm, and get the moment. And so I was like sitting 6 in the morning, seething at this field overlooking Dale Farm. And I was like, well, nothing's going to happen here. This is ridiculous. And all of a sudden, I looked behind me, and there was about 200 riot police with their helmets, riot gear, marching towards me. They had decided to come into Dale Farm from the back.
She looked
and I was the only. She didn't know that either.
Oh,
that's opportunity. That's luck. That's the luck.
Lied to you.
And I'm like, oh my God, they're coming in this way. What's going on?
And you're the only one there.
I'm the only journalist there. So,
love that.
Live radio is fantastic, but I broadcast that morning at 7 o'clock for about 20 minutes live, where I marched down the field with the riot police and into the back of Dale Farm, and I was the first journalist to go in with them. And what it did was it just solidified me as a kind of someone who was able to react, and really give me confidence, but also prove to the bosses that I could do the job, kind of thing. And that was what led to a permanent contract at the BBC, and I'm very lucky that I've worked there ever since. So that was the defining moment.
Pretty cool. I've got to
again, BBC Essex has been so good to me over the years. I was there for 5 years. My other big moment at BBC Essex, believe it or not, was to meet my absolute idol, which was Kylie Minogue.
Oh, I love Kylie.
I know, it's like incredible. Who would have thought the little local journalist at BBC Essex?
Yes. Same height as my mum.
Incredible. She's tiny in real life. Yeah. She got an honorary degree from Chelmsford, from Essex University in Chelmsford, and she turned up with all the other students on graduation day with her little mortar cap and accepted it like everyone else. Amazing down-to-earth woman.
She's very humble.
Really humble, really down-to-earth. And I get the opportunity to interview her, not about her pop career or anything, but it was to do with her contribution to breast cancer after her breast cancer diagnosis. And such a moment for me. I loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. And it was before the days of phone, of cameras and stuff. There's no recording of it. I have no recording of it. I have no photos with her. Nothing. But it happened.
Got it.
And I know what happened, and that's what's good enough for me.
She's still relevant today. She's actually, the one thing about Kylie Minogue is that she generationally almost reinvents herself.
Absolutely, yes.
And I think that's what she's a hero, both in Australia and the UK.
Yes.
And I know it all came from Neighbours, but realistically, she's a bit like Gillian Anderson.
Yes.
Is that she can, I always think they look quite similar actually saying that, but they're loved in the UK.
Yes. She just resonates, she connects, she's got that human touch, that welcoming, down-to-earth touch. And she headlined the Electric Picnic last weekend, which is Ireland's Glastonbury. 85,000 people in Ireland last weekend. Kylie was a headline act.
I wish I was there.
Yeah. Well, my mates
Malaysia.
were. I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't either?
No, I wasn't, but my mates were. Yeah.
Got it.
But there's loads on social media of Kylie doing touristy things in Ireland, photos of her in Ireland and stuff. So I think she likes it. I think she likes the Irish.
I'll just say she likes the Irish.
Exactly.
At the same time. And saying a bit that there about culture, you're also BBC Two's cultural representative as well.
Well, I was, yes. I did that job for 3 years. I was the arts reporter for the programme, The Arts Show, that was presented by Claudia Winkleman. It no longer broadcasts on Radio 2. But again, that was amazing. I love my art and culture. Living in London, we're so lucky that we've got access to it. Theatreland, musicals, everything. It's really important to me, and it was a great gig. Twice a week. Twice a month, sorry. My remit was to go out and make something lovely, programme, little mini documentary about something relevant and big that was happening across the country. Again, had amazing opportunities. Spent a couple of days with Annie Lennox up in Edinburgh.
I love the Eurythmics.
Yeah, amazing. She's incredible. Got to the Turner Prize when it went to Derry. Behind the scenes of the National Theatre. 50 years of the National Theatre, interviewed loads of celebrities, and that's very
iconic times.
That's amazing, but very, it sounds and looks amazing, but the reality is that you're very kind of constricted with these celebrities. But I met them. It was great. Liam Neeson.
I love Liam. From Ballymena.
Ballymena man. Yes. The other guy. Who's the other one? From Larne. Doran. No, I've never done him. Fassbender.
Because his mum, everyone doesn't know that Michael Fassbender, his mum is from Larne.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
And everyone goes X-Men to all the other famous movies that he's been in.
Yes.
And he's a Northern Irishman, although he's got German heritage as well.
Uh-huh.
But hey, another person from Larne, which I'll shout about anytime.
Honestly, it was so funny. Like this.
Is he quite nice?
This Hollywood celebrity, and I sat down to him and I said, "It's lovely to meet another man from Larne." And he says, "Oh my God, you're Irish. Where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm from the Rawdons, near the Rawdons." And he went, "Oh, my granny lives in Salop Park."
So he actually knows the area.
Of course, he knows it. He used to spend every summer there.
I did not know
yes. that. And when I posted this is 3 or 4 years ago, he had just been home for a wedding, I think at Macramore. I think he was at a wedding there or something. Yeah. So I got to interview him, and lots of different people in that role. But it was a great position. It was a high-profile job, and it's now come to an end. But still, adds to the portfolio of life.
Well, this is the thing for you. It is having a portfolio within the media industry, and the fact that you are incredibly versatile as a presenter and a reporter. And we've talked about stuff that you've done. And I think it leads epically in to potentially a global role down the line for you. But actually, that can lead on to my last question for you: is that what led to the decision for you to move from the corporate world of urban planning to journalism? Because I know we've talked about the journalism.
Yes.
That's an incredible leap.
Yes, it is. And again, two things. So whilst I was in the corporate world as a town planner, I was occasionally used by LBC as a property expert, giving comments and that kind of thing. So I loved it. I had a bit of a taste for it. I'm nosy, which is a great quality as a journalist. You know, you got to be nosy, and you know that if you got that, that's one tick as a journalist. and then it kind of all happened. It was sort of out of my hands. 2008, I was flying high, great job, company car, great salary, working for BBC, working for Banner Homes out in Berkshire. And we came into, well, there was a property crash, wasn't there, 2008?
It was one of the worst.
And we walked in one Monday morning, and the planning team, I was one of the planning directors, the planning team was chopped from 4 of us to 1.
Oh, wow.
So 3 was made redundant. I was one of them, and 2 others. And with that settlement, you can try and, you know, pick yourself up and try and scratch around for another planning job, or you can take a fresh look at life. And I saw it as an opportunity to have a fresh look at what I really wanted to do. And so I signed up to be a, you know, postgraduate diploma at LCC to study journalism. And
that's incredible. And that's a big change.
It was a huge change, and I just missed the boat. It happened in the October time, and I'd missed the start of that, you know, that academic year, which started in September. So I had to wait to the next September. So, but I had signed up, so I had a year kind of off, bumming around. But what I used year, it was me time. But what I used that year to do was to build contacts and actually start writing. I did an awful lot of interviews and theatre reviews and writing for the Irish Post, which is an Irish-based paper here in London, and kind of get a bit of a portfolio, which helped me go onto the course, to be fair. And I just had a great time, a great year, and then hunkered down and started the course, and the rest is history. So it was kind of opportunity, and it was kind of something that was taken out of my hands, and
well, now you've built a career. You built a career at the BBC.
You know, a second career at 32. When I was 32.
That's impressive.
You know,
and honestly, and we talked about you've developed from, we said, BBC Essex, BBC London, BBC Network, the main BBC programming.
Yes.
And the news desk.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
And to have a Northern Irishman's accent on the BBC, you know, it's something that, you know, sings to me when I'm turning on the telly. And it isn't somebody from London, it's actually somebody from home reporting on London news where I live.
Yes. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, we're all a bit obsessed at the moment with representation. And I'm not sure I valued that before until I started presenting the news. And I have so many Irish people coming up to me and saying, thank you for being on the news. And we feel part of it now. We feel represented. Right. And so now I really value that representation. And you know, I understand now when people say they want to see people like me, you know, in adverts, in movies, and on the telly, on billboards or whatever. You know, I value that argument now, or that concept, because that's now really important to me as well. And I didn't appreciate that before.
It's relevant, and there's so many expats from Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland in London.
Yes.
And we feel missed out sometimes.
Yes.
Not badly, but as you said, it's, you know, if you're turning on the TV and seeing somebody with the same accent, same background, then you engage more a little bit, because you're hearing stuff about London and stuff, or the national news, report it from someone who's got that twang, that accent.
Yes, twang, I love it.
You kind of go through. Thomas, this is the quick fire rounds, and as I keep saying, it's the Spanish Inquisition. So, who would you say 3 inspirational heroes?
I think probably you will be able to guess 2 of them from our conversation, and definitely my mum and dad, because over the years they've just shown resilience, they've shown strength, they've shown me what hard work is like and what perseverance is like, and I respect all of that in them. So certainly my mum and dad, and my first boss in journalism, a lady called Alison Hodgkins Brown. I mean, I got into the BBC really early in my career from being a student at South Bank Uni down the road here, and I got into BBC Essex. She gave me opportunity after opportunity. She let me fail. She let me get things really badly wrong. And she never held it.
Learn.
Absolutely, she didn't hold it against you. The next day was a new day. You screwed up one day, you come back and you were given the top story the next day. And I grew from that. And also, as I mentioned before, we need luck in life. And she helped create my luck because the biggest story probably of the year when I was the first year of journalism was the eviction of travellers in Dale Farm.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah, a massive story at the time. And she put me in a position where I was at the forefront of that story. And it really, really solidified my career, and it led to me being given a permanent contract. So I have a lot to thank Alison for.
Well, I think she's going to be pretty chuffed that you've given her a shout out today. And what would you say that leads great on? 3 steps to success.
Well, everyone's different and everyone's journey is different, but I think at the heart of my journey and what I would say to other young kids or students getting involved in journalism, I think one of the key things is you've got to be prepared to work damn hard.
You got to graft.
That might be obvious, but some people, particularly Generation Z, is it, or Gen or something?
Yep.
They don't want to, put in the graft. But I think in the early stages you've got to.
It's not overnight. You can't always have an overnight success, and even if you have an overnight success, if you don't have the graft, have the build-up of your work ethic and the fact that you've learned your trade, you've nothing to fall back on.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing about a lot of, unfortunately, this generation. It's about sure, sharp rewards you want today. But you can't be CEO overnight, mate. You need to put in the graft. It took me 15 years in insurance. You put the graft in for the number of years you've done too.
The other thing I would say to anyone in any career or starting out in life really is be prepared to fail and don't see failure as the end. We all got to fail at something and you've got to learn from it. And I think it's a great lesson actually to fail at stuff and to be unsuccessful for a while or to cock up at something.
Big time.
That's massively...
What's your learning? What's your steps?
It's a bigger learning curve than actually being successful at something.
Well, that's it. You don't learn anything from being successful.
And you often don't reflect on your successes, whereas if you do something wrong or you mess up or you're not successful in something, that's the stuff you procrastinate and think about. It really gets in the back of your mind and actually you learn from it. So I would say be prepared to fail and reflect on it. That would be my big piece of advice to people. And of course luck. We all need a bit of luck in life as well.
I like sleep for that. But you said like the graft and your mum and daddy, and we both know coming from Larne that most people from Larne are grafters and still are.
Yeah.
So I think that one gives straight through, but you're absolutely spot on. Failure gives you steps to success and it gives you the learning ability to reflect and then basically learn to then be successful. And I'm going to give you an easy one now. 3 foods you like.
Oh, well, we're recording this on a Sunday and I am off to meet some friends after this for the best meal of the week, which is a Sunday roast. You can't beat that. I always say I'm going to do a podcast or a blog or something on Sunday roasts and the best ones in London. That's one of the things I really want to do because I live for the Sunday roast.
Are you chicken or beef or pork?
Oh, beef. Don't even look at the menu. Beef.
You always go beef?
Just beef, yeah.
My wife does beef.
Yeah.
I like the pork, I like crackling.
Yeah, well that's nice, but problem is it's hard to get right. Lots of places can't get it right.
That buggers it up. What about the other ones? You do Sunday roast?
Sunday roast and then a good old Ulster fry.
Yeah. I had one yesterday morning.
Yeah, perfect.
St George's Market.
St George's Market, spot on. Yes, great
Full
place.
soda I went for.
Yes, well, they start to do soda over here now, so you can regularly get it in M&S and even Tesco does it as well. But yes, a Saturday big Ulster fry at home or a greasy spoon in London. It's hard to beat. So fry up, Ulster fry, Sunday roast.
One thing I forgot to bring back from Belfast was my Vita. You can't get it here.
That's right. It's Soreen or something here. It's a sort of similar thing but not quite like Vita. No.
And I get pretty grumpy. I keep saying this. I get grumpy that Vita is not available in London, and it's my go-to on a weekend.
There's a missed opportunity for you. There's a business opportunity.
The new export.
Yeah, exactly.
And 3 holiday destinations that either you've been or would like to go?
Well, I am pretty, I'm more or less a man of habit, and I either go to Northern Ireland, which, when you get the weather...
God's own country, as I say.
And you get the weather, there's nowhere like it. Down that Antrim coast is the best place in the world. I've just come back from 10 days there. We did a road trip down to Dublin as well. It was lovely. And again, for the last 30 years, I have been going to New York. And I absolutely love New York. And
which parts?
I stay in Manhattan, but I went as part of, I don't know if you remember it, years ago when we were growing up, Project Children, which was a charity which took people from war-torn country, Ireland, to Irish-American families. So I went to New Jersey.
New Jersey's cool.
I went there when I was 11, and I'm still in contact with that Irish-American family, the Conleys. And so I still go. I don't go to New Jersey now, and they've moved to Washington. But yes, I go to New York, and I just love sitting in a cafe, people watching, a beer, a coffee, whatever, watching the world go by, and knowing that I'm part of that. And I was lucky enough to live in New York for 4 months.
Well, I think it's one thing. I like Greenwich. Greenwich Village is one of my favourites. But I do like Manhattan.
Yes.
I say it's cracker. I've been a few times, and it's London on steroids.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's cool. But you've got, I think it's also a bit like Brighton, because you've got different quadrants within New York. You go in and there's a city side to it, but then you go in and there's your Bohemian.
Yeah.
And it's all quite close.
Exactly.
I like New York a lot.
The new place, the last time I was there, is actually just into Brooklyn, on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Love it.
Is the new trendy bit. I forget the name of it.
Is the Garden Bridge thing?
No, that's further upper west side. It's it's this new area. It's not a new area, but it's this place to be seen. And I managed to go over there once, and it's kind of very Shoreditchy.
Okay.
Up and coming, a bit bohemian, a bit cool.
See, I like that.
Yeah. But when you go to New York on your own, which I travel a lot on my own, and I enjoy it, I still don't have the confidence just to go out at night in Brooklyn there. So it can be absolutely fine, but I do daytime. I do daytimes around there.
I say, what do you call it? Grits. You have the grits for brekkie.
Yes.
I like the southern fried chicken. What do you call the bread thing now?
It's like a sweetbread, is it?
It's that with through, and then it's the grits on top of it. And I really like all that. They're simple, humble. They call it soul food.
Yes,
I think it's cool.
And the third place, which I've never been to, and I've got a cousin who now lives in Australia that I keep threatening I probably should go to, just because everyone says it's amazing. I've no desire really to go, but I feel like I should go and experience the heat, the size, the whatever there is there, and so that's on my bucket list to go to Australia at some point.
Well, most of my wife's relatives have moved Melbourne, Perth and Sydney, and they adore it. I've not been.
You've not been either?
My wife's been a few times. She'd actually did a summer school one time, but me personally, I don't know, I would probably be much more interested in New Zealand.
Right, yeah.
Because I've got a mate from uni who moved out to South Wanaka, Charlie, and he describes it like England 1950s, 60s, and he likes the quietness, but you get an amazing summer. A bit like Canada, you get really, really bad winters, but you get that contrast of the snow and stuff. But Australia, maybe I might get twisted my arm.
I think, it's on the list.
And 3 ambitions you have now. You're still young, for God's sake. But what would you say is 3 ambitions you've got?
God, that's a hard one. I did think about this. Do you know, I'm really lucky, and I think I have had a great career so far. I just want to keep building on my career, and that's really important to, maybe go back to network news, become a correspondent. That's certainly something that I want to focus on before I'm too old.
And the travel for that too.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of foreign travel would be amazing. And then, I think we mentioned it earlier, again, I really, really want at some point to get somewhere by the sea back home. And I think that's a real safe space and a happy place. And I think to have that and to go back to that, to be able to go back to somewhere that's your own and open the curtains and looking out to the sea is a massive ambition of mine, because I've never lived by the sea. Larne is by the sea, but my house has never been by the sea, and I really, really want to do that. So that's a massive ambition of mine as well. And those are the two things that I want to focus on. And I keep saying I'm going to write a book, but
Everyone at the minute I'm interviewing are wanting to write a book, both in regard to their life or in regard to a subject matter, and I'm quite intrigued. It's not in my realms, but I think to put yourself into a book and you leave that legacy, you should definitely do it.
Yes, yeah.
'Cause you've got a lot of stories to tell, from Northern Ireland to London, and then the travel within the BBC and the promotions that you've had very successfully.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great for you.
Yeah, I mean, the book that I've got 5,000 words down so far, but a book's about 80, that's huge, but it's a bit overwhelming when you think of the word count. But my book is set in Northern Ireland in the 80s, and the context is true historical events from the 80s, but fictional characters. So I've started putting down the words, but I actually realised when I started writing that I need to do a lot more research into the history of Northern Ireland in the 80s. I don't know as much as I thought I knew.
We all live in a bubble.
Yeah.
We only know a little bit, and it's funny that my part of the 80s was either Larne or I was going to Newcastle, sometimes to Belfast, but it really wasn't Belfast.
Yeah.
So it was a bubble-wise. So you're right, I would probably have to do the same thing. It's a big old kind of research.
Yeah, you think you know it, and people think, you're from Northern Ireland, you know all about it. I don't really know.
Larne was protected a lot, though. We were very lucky and blessed that we weren't in the midst of, as they say, the troubles on that side. And we had a lovely upbringing, realistically, in the communities.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the bad element was out of our sphere. So we kind of moved.
Oh.
You're going to be fly.
Fly on my head, yeah.
It's cool. And would you say 3 ways you try to unwind? Because you're quite stressful being, reporter and presenter.
Yeah, it can be. And the biggest thing for me is just to get out and walk. I love walking, and I started this time when I was home to walk the Ulster Way. So it's a path round Northern Ireland, 600 odd miles. Path around Northern Ireland, and the bit I started is up above Ballygally, Ballygoose, the mountains along there.
Yes.
So I started it. I mean, my ambition is to walk all of it, but it's colossal, 600 miles. But in London, I do walk, that's my kind of downtime, get a podcast on, get the earphones on, and just de-stress myself by walking around, and also getting to the sea. So I would go to Brighton a lot, and I go to Whitstable because I'm out southeast London, Kent way. Oh, it's lovely, really, really nice. And you can walk from Whitstable, you can walk along that Kent coast, Bexhill, right round Ramsgate, all Broadstairs, Margate.
Broadstairs.
Beautiful.
I've been to Broadstairs a few
beautiful.
times, and that's lovely. I take the kids down that time.
Yes.
I haven't out as far as Whitstable, so I might do that.
It's lovely, really, really nice. It's a little bit of London. A lot of people have moved out there.
Well, one thing people forget about London is everyone goes, they jump on the tube. But really, you can walk between tube stations very quickly and actually get part of the real London.
Absolutely.
I think it goes through.
Yeah.
And I suppose because you do shift work as well, and you don't know what's going to be thrown at you in the news, what would you say the number of hours you'd work in one day?
We are very well protected, actually, in the BBC in terms of our mental health and our work-life balance. They're really strong on that and really value downtime. So surprisingly, I would say that I do conventional hours. We do 4 10-hour shifts a week, and unless
that's
I
good.
choose to do any overtime, which I often do, that's up to me. But in terms of like shift work, it would be a 10-hour shift, and as I say, they really value your downtime, and they really take into consideration that if you're working on a particularly difficult story, and this doesn't really apply to BBC London so much, but if you are a producer or reporter working on the Israel-Palestine war, or what's happening in Ukraine or something like that, you see an awful lot of footage and stuff
Upsetting.
that can't be broadcast. It's so upsetting, and therefore there's an awful lot of support offered to journalists and producers in the
Brilliant,
BBC.
the BBC does that for you.
And I think all responsible broadcasters do it, to be fair, but it's really important that people have that time, and there's a quiet space in the building as well where you can go if you just need a little bit of time. If you've been watching, and again, you know, editors will know, they're maybe watching that one bit of footage time and time again. Editing, it can take a real toll on you. So yeah, we're very lucky in that respect. So yeah, I'm not overly worked.
Jealous? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I should work for the BBC. Thanks for being on the podcast today.
Pleasure.
It's been lovely to talk to a fellow alarm man who has had the successes and lives, weirdly, you're quite close to me, which I love.
I know, yeah.
In the burbs at the same time.
Although the aim is to get back here again.
Well, I'll leave you
back
for
to
that.
my elephant and castle.
I think it's
Someday.
cool, and you've got all the big buildings
Yeah.
too. But thank you. Give us a cut on. Say
Pleasure.
thank you.
Yeah.